In alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. We're continuing with the topic of learning how to benefit from the mistakes of the companions. And we've begun with the caliphate of Uthman, how the companions divided. They allowed the hypocrites led by Ibn Saba to cause the companions to divide and separate and turn against one of the most eminent companions of all, which was Uthman, who was the caliph, the leader over the Muslims. Uthman, who the Prophet Muhammad himself said will be the third person after the Prophet to enter paradise. Uthman, whom the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself said is the best, the third best of this nation after him. And as we talked about on the quiz, those words alone that Ali mentioned to Uthman when he met privately with him should have caused Ali to stand up and realize that he was being used as a pawn by Ibn Saba. He should have taken that hadith that he remembered and said, oh my God, I should be supporting you. I should be defending you, Uthman. And he should have went to Ammar, Ibn Yasir, and the others and said, there is no way that you people could think that I could replace Uthman as caliph, as leader, when the Prophet himself said that Uthman is better than me. Okay, but that didn't happen. Because again, you know, we're all human. Sometimes Shaitan whispers it in our hearts, plays upon our weaknesses, causes us to do things that we end up regretting. And that's where we're going to pick up today. Even though Uthman had addressed the people who were opposed to him, and they could not prove him guilty of anything, they still chose to revolt against him. And that's what we're going to speak about today, the armed revolt against Uthman. The armed revolt against Uthman. Uthman had hoped that the speech he delivered in the mosque that Friday after he met with Ali, you know, would offer full defense of his actions and would stop the propaganda. But as we talked about earlier, it was too late. Uthman should have addressed the lies, the slander, the propaganda when they first emerged. By him not addressing them till now, it was too late. Okay, in fact, now Ibn Saba had raised enough supporters from Egypt that they were now in Medina and ready to overthrow him as leader of the Muslims. In fact, in Medina, Muhammad, the son of Abu Bakr, along with Amir ibn Yasir and Amir ibn al-As, they continued their campaign against Uthman and began to feed the people false tales about the atrocities that were supposedly being committed in Egypt, because that's where they had been hiding out, in Egypt. In fact, Amir ibn al-As declared that he would inflame even the shepherds of the desert to rise up against Uthman. And why was Amir ibn al-As so upset that he would go to these lengths? All because Uthman replaced him as governor. Okay? As the politics of Egypt figured most in the propaganda against the caliphate, Uthman called Abdullah ibn Saud. Now, who was Abdullah ibn Saud? He was another eminent companion of the Prophet. He was the one who Uthman replaced Amir ibn al-As with. Because the people, there were so many lies being spread about what was going on in Egypt, Uthman declared for Abdullah ibn Saud to come and consort the people of Medina, to come to Medina so they could prove if these charges were true or not. And being the good man that he is, Abdullah came to Medina, and in his absence, he left the affairs of Egypt to his deputy. Now, in the meantime, remember, we talked about another person that played a crucial part in all this fitna. Muhammad ibn Abu Hudayfa. He was the one who Uthman raised as his own son. Muhammad ibn Abu Hudayfa was angry because he wanted a position of power, and Uthman didn't give it to him, telling him he was not ready for it. He was not mature enough. Remember, Muhammad Abu Hudayfa had went to Egypt and joined up with Ibn Saba and his supporters too. So while Abdullah ibn Saud came to Medina, Muhammad ibn Abu Hudayfa, who was still in Egypt, he staged a rebellion. He staged a rebellion and captured power in Egypt. See how that went? So while Abdullah ibn Saud came to Medina, to face the charges of the lies that they were circulating about how he supposedly was being so oppressive, Muhammad ibn Abu Hudayfa led a rebellion and took control of the power in Egypt. And Abdullah hastened back, and Uthman was not in the position to give him any military assistance. So while he was en route to Medina, this happened. When Abdullah ibn Saud found out, he went back to Egypt to try to, take back control, but Uthman could not give him any assistance. So what happened was Abdullah ibn Saud failed to recapture power in Egypt, and Muhammad ibn Abu Hudayfa warned him not to enter Fustat, because if he entered Fustat, he would be killed. So Abdullah ibn Saud then went to Ramla, and he stayed in Ramla, and he died 2 years later. So here you can see it. The revolt has already taken place. Egypt was the bed of the rebellion. While Uthman was trying to set things straight in Medina, someone he trusted very much, who he should have dealt with long time ago, Muhammad ibn Abu Hudayfa, staged a rebellion with the help of Ibn Saba and took over Egypt. Okay? And with the capture of power by Muhammad ibn Abu Hudayfa, the stage was now set for an open revolt against the caliphate of Uthman. That set the stage. Now, where was the other country? Or what was the other country that was so against Uthman? Kufa. Remember Kufa, which was in Iraq. Remember, Abu Musa Ash'ari was the governor there. And he paid nominal allegiance to Uthman. He was really a nominee of the rebels, and he could not go against their wishes. Okay? And in Basra, the other Islamic state, the governor there was Abdullah ibn Amir. He went to make Hajj. And in his absence, the affairs of the province fell into a state of confusion. So here you can see Egypt was the beginning of the revolt. Then after they took control of Egypt there, the people of Kufa, then the people of Basra began their revolt. So thus the three main provinces, Egypt, Kufa, and Basra, came to be cut off from the caliphate of Uthman. And these three provinces, these three Islamic states, became the center of revolt. And then in the month of Shawwal, an army of about 1,000 soldiers was sent from Egypt to Medina. These people traveled in 4 separate groups and gave out that they were going to make Hajj, but they were fully armed, and their instructions were to overthrow the government of Uthman and to kill him. And this contingent was led by Amir Gofki bin Harb. And by the way, guys, Ibn Saba accompanied this contingent as their general advisor. Ibn Saba was with them. Okay? And as they made their march on Medina, other contingents were coming from Kufa and Basra too. The person that led the army of Kufa was Ashtar Naki. And the person that led the army from Basra was Hakim ibn Jabala. And they all converged on Medina according to their prearranged plan. And when they reached the neighborhood of Medina, the army from Egypt camped at Dul Marwa, and the army from Basra encamped at Dukshab, and the army from Kufa encamped at Ahwa. So they had totally surrounded Medina. And from these camps, the contingents sent their representatives to one another for consultation. And they also sent their representatives to Medina to contact the leaders there. And when they arrived in Medina, who did they go see? They went to see Ali. And when they went to see Ali, they offered him the caliphate. Ali turned down their offer. Now here we can see, guys, remember, we're all human. Sometimes Shaitan causes us to make bad choices due to the whispers he gives us, because our personal jinn looks inside your heart and can see if you're going through weaknesses or whatever. Well, Ali was starting to realize, but Ali was starting to realize too late that perhaps he made a mistake by not supporting Uthman openly. He began to realize perhaps I should speak out. Wait a minute, Uthman is better than me. Maybe I should speak out. But again, and you know, this was too late. And again, this is what makes the companions better than us, which is why we don't badmouth them. Because even though they made mistakes, they recognized their mistakes and they repented before we did. And that's what happened with Ali. When Ali realized that an army had come to Medina from Egypt and from Kufa and from Basra, he said, oh my God, they really are going to kill Uthman, my brother in faith, my cousin, the husband of the prophet's daughters. And they went to see him, and he told them, no way, I don't want to be the Caliph. You're not going to kill me. Kill Uthman and replace him with me. After visiting with Ali, the representatives from Kufa went to Zubair. Now, many of you should remember who Zubair was. He was one of the nephews of Aisha. He was also another eminent companion. They went to him asking, for his support. And then the contingent or the army from Basra went to Talha. You guys remember Talha? He was the one who gave his garden, who Allah speaks about in the Quran. He gave his garden in Medina to Allah, to the Prophet Muhammad, to give for the sake of Allah. He was another eminent companion. All of these companions were guaranteed paradise. The people of Basra went to him. And guess what they did? They told Talha, since they heard that Ali turned down the caliphate, the people of Basra offered it to Talha. They said, since Ali doesn't want to replace Uthman, they said, we're going to kill Uthman. And since Ali doesn't want it, we're going to make you the next caliph, because you were the one who gave your garden for the sake of Allah. You were the one who was promised paradise too. But being the God-fearing Muslim that Talha was, he refused the offer too. So now, even though no one would speak up, they realized they were the companions, the eminent companions of Medina were starting to see the mistake they made. Because it was now real. They had armies here getting ready to take down Uthman. And nobody wanted to be Caliph because guess what? He was the best of this nation. This was a man who was a multi-millionaire, and from the beginning of the event of the prophet's prophethood, he gave up all his riches in the cause of Allah. The prophet loved Uthman. He loved him so much that he married his 2 daughters to him. But it was too late. This is what happens when we don't stomp out rumors in the beginning. The rumors, the lies. Muhammad ibn Abdullah and all of them should have been checked when they first started this. Because now Medina was no longer a united front. Instead, Medina, the beloved city of the prophet, had now become a divided house. When Uthman found out that these people had arrived, he appealed to Ali to intervene and to use his influence. He said, Ali, since they want you to replace me, use your influence and try to get them to leave. And again, I told you guys, Ali was starting to feel pretty bad because he had been critical of Uthman before. He had been critical of Uthman before. And now he realized the folly, how he had played into the hands of Ibn Saba and Shaitan. So Ali met with the rebels. After he refused the caliphate, he met with them and told them, leave the prophet's city. They told Ali the only way that we will leave is if Abdullah ibn Sa'd is removed as governor of Egypt. Okay, again, Ali was feeling bad, realizing that he should have spoke up long time ago, realizing that he shouldn't have played into their hands. So Ali went to Uthman and told Uthman, get rid of Abdullah ibn Sa'd. That's the only way that they said that they will leave. And with no other choice, Uthman passed the orders to remove Abdullah ibn Sa'd. And those of you who don't know, Abdullah ibn Sa'd was one of the most eminent companions. He was a great general. He was a great general. He fought, with the prophet. He fought underneath the caliphate of Abu Bakr. He fought under the caliphate of Umar. He was just as respected as Khalid bin Walid. So Uthman removed him as governor of Egypt, and he appointed Muhammad, the son of Abu Bakr, to be governor. And remember, that's what Muhammad, the son of Abu Bakr, was so ticked off about. He wanted a position of power. So under the advice of Ali and others, Uthman said, okay, we don't want no war. We don't want these people to come in here. It wasn't that Uthman feared dying. He said, if I got to die, I'll die. But this is the prophet's city. This is Medina. We don't need no bloodshed here in Medina. He said, I'll remove Abdullah ibn Sa'd and I'll give Muhammad what he wants. Make him governor. And that's what he did. But did this make them leave? Did this make the rebels leave? To answer that question, guys, the answer is no. This did not stop. Because again, once fitna begins and it escalates to the level that this escalated to, it's hard to stop it. Shaitan was in control now. It was totally out of hand. It was hard to stop it now. So instead of this stopping, what happened is the rebels themselves came to the home of Uthman. Even though he gave them what they wanted, they still wanted him out. They said that's not enough. Even though they lied and said they would leave, if they got rid of Abdullah ibn Sa'd, that was a lie. They said, we want you out. And they surrounded his home. They allowed him to go to the mosque to pray, but they followed him everywhere he went. And on the first Friday, after they had sieged Medina, Uthman led the Jummah prayer, and he addressed the people in the mosque. After he praised Allah and the Prophet, Uthman invited the attention of the people to remember the commands in the Quran, asking the people to obey Allah and obey the Prophet and those in authority. Here we can see Uthman was still the best of the best. Even though he was being followed by people, the rebels, he said, I'm trying to remind you all what Allah says in the Quran. Allah commands us to obey him, the Prophet, and those in authority. I am in authority over you. He told them that the Muslims have been enjoined to settle all matters by mutual consultation. He said that he had kept the doors of consultation wide open, and all the allegations that have been leveled against him have been duly explained and been proven to be false. He also expressed his readiness to solve whatever legitimate grievances the people had, if any. And he then faced the rebels, and he appealed to them again to leave Medina. This is the city of the Prophet. He wanted the people of Medina to support the cause of truth and justice, and to stop supporting the rebels who were only here to cause fitna. After Uthman delivered his wonderful speech, 2 or 3 people who were present stood up, and they assured Uthman that they would support him. And when these 2 or 3 people stood up and offered their support, guess what happened? The rebels grabbed them and told them to sit down. And the rebels included Amir ibn al-As, Ammar ibn Yasir, and Muhammad, the son of Abu Bakr. In fact, all 3 of them raised their voices over Uthman. And one rebel named Jabala, he said, beware, Uthman, you are an old foolish man. And unless you step down as leader, we will strangle you to death. Oh my God, can y'all imagine that? This is going on in the Prophet's mosque. Remember what the Prophet said? He said, another sign of the last hours is that when I die, the people will fight in the mosque. Remember? He said, my mosque will be turned into a battleground. And here you can see it. The Prophet said this would happen. And his companions were here seeing it and a part of it. Out of disrespect, this man calls Uthman an old stupid fool and tells him to sit down or we will strangle you. Also, guys, another man named Jamla Ghaffari, he grabbed the staff from out of Uthman's hands and broke it on Uthman's knees. Can you imagine that? He took that staff out of Uthman's hand and hit him on the knees and broke it. And then he told Uthman that he brought a dirty cloth and an old camel for Uthman to wear and to ride because he was no longer worthy of wearing the robes of a leader. But despite all this happening to him, Uthman merely addressed the man and said, may Allah curse you and may Allah curse all that you have brought. After Uthman made that comment, some of his supporters picked up sticks to try to help defend Uthman. And hot words were exchanged between the rebels and the few supporters Uthman had. And then they began to throw rocks at each other right there in the mosque. One of the rocks hit Uthman in the head and he fell down unconscious. And when Uthman fell down unconscious, they picked him up and carried him to his home. And we'll stop right here for today. I want you guys to see all this happening. All this happening. Because the rumors, the lies should have been wiped out when they first began. But I want you guys to understand something. Of those people who were standing trying to support Uthman, they also included Ali. Ali stood right there on the pulpit next to Uthman, guarding him, protecting him with his body. The rocks hit Ali. He realized the error that he made by not speaking up. He threw himself in front of Uthman to protect him. So don't be angry at Ali. Don't blame Ali. Ali realized his mistake and was trying to make the amends. And as you're going to find out tomorrow when we continue, it was Ali and his sons who tried to protect Uthman. Even though it was too late, still to the very end, Ali and his sons, Hassan and Hussein, tried to protect him. Okay? So again, these were very trying times, and it's not for you to pass judgment on the companions. It's not for you to try to speak badly of any of them, because again, they were better than us because they realized their mistakes, they realized their bad choices and made amends. How many of us make amends? How many of us realize we were stupid and we played into the hands of a hypocrite until it's too late? We never stand up and say, I was wrong. I should have spoke up. I should have defended her. I knew that sister was a good sister. I should have spoke up when they were lying and slandering her, but I didn't. I should have stood up before she lost her website, before she lost her support, but I didn't. How many of us do that? Very few, but Ali did. And he stood in front of Uthman, taking those rocks for him, protecting him with his own body. All right. So we'll stop right here for today. Tomorrow we'll pick up and continue. Again, if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, because this is very, very important stuff.